Men nu välkomna Europan. And I will switch language and introduce Carolina Wikström and Frida Öster, General Secretary of Europan Sweden. And I will hand the mic and the evening to you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we are very happy that you are so many today. My name is Carolina Wikström, and this is Frida Öster, and we are together General Secretary of Europan Sweden. And welcome to this Europan Lounge here in Stockholm. We have been on a tour, so we have been earlier in Malmö and Gothenburg. And we are very happy to have this possibility to be here today at Konstakademin together with Stockholms Arkitektförening. And the short program for today is a short Europan introduction, and then after we will have a presentation of the 5 Europan sites of Europan 17, and then we will have some inspirational presentations, and also from Fredrik Drotte, who is chairman of the Europan 17 jury.
So first, a little bit about Europan. So Europan is an international competition for architects under 40 years old. And the competition is held every 2 years with competition sites all over Europe. And this year we have 51 sites all over Europe, and we have 5 sites in Sweden. And the requirement to participate in the competition is that there is at least one graduated architect in the team, and this can be an architect, it can be a landscape architect, and it can be an urban planner. And then the rest of the team can be formed depending on the needs and the challenges of the sites, and can also include students and also young professionals from other disciplines. And we really encourage to form multidisciplinary teams when you participate. And each session of Europan has a theme, and the theme for Europan 17 is Living Cities, Reimagining Architectures by Caring for Inhabited Milieus. And it's especially this word care that is in focus for Europan 17, and how we can, by caring for our living environments, how we can tackle the urgent challenges of climate change, and how we can create socially sustainable environments, and how we can use architecture and planning to create better conditions for urbanity and nature to coexist. And also how we can use what is already there, and how we can minimize consumption of resources and energy. And each competition site is addressing this theme from different angles and different perspectives. And you're going to hear more about the 5 Swedish sites with presentations later on in Piteå, Skellefteå, Rimbo, Nyköping, Skavsta, and Växjö.
Yes, and important dates to remember is the lounge that's already been, the Monday the 27th. And the submission for the entries is the 30th of July, so it's still plenty of time. And the results will be on Monday the 4th December. And here is the dates for the site visits for each site, so it's also good to remember. All the events will be a combi event, so it will both be physical and digital. It was something which happened after the pandemic, that we started to have it digital as well. And you have to pre-register by sending an email to info@europan.se. And you also have to inform us if you are coming physically or will participate physically or digital. And we are very proud to present the Europan 17 jury. 2 of the jury members are here tonight. And in each session, we have 2 people with an international profile. And in this year we have one person from Denmark and one person from Norway. And you see Fredrik Drotte on the top. He will give us a small lecture. And he is head of urban planning and innovation at Vincero. And next to him, we have Camilla van Deurs from Denmark, who is an architect and PhD in urban design, and chief city architect of City of Copenhagen. And then we have Cecilia Andersson from Norway, architect and PhD in architecture, who is vice rector and associate professor at Berg School of Architecture. And then we have Björn Forsberg, who is architect and founding architect at Forsberg Ling, and also winner of Europan 15 in Helsingborg. And next to him we have Michael Schalk, who is an architect and PhD in theoretical and applied aesthetics of landscape architecture, and associate professor in urban design and urban theory. She's also docent in architecture at KTH. And next to her we have Johan Pajo, who is a landscape architect and founder of Pajo Arkitektur och Landskap. And next to Johan we have Rebecca Rubin, who is also here tonight, and who is an architect and urban planner, assistant professor at KTH, head of social sustainability at Svea Fastigheter, and mayor's design advocate at GLA London. Yes, we are very happy for this eminent jury.
A tip we want to give is that you can see the number of registrations on Europan Europe's website. And you can increase the chance to win by choosing a site with less registration. And we changed this today, because before Nyköping didn't have any registration, but they got one today. So follow this, and of course choose one of the Swedish sites. And now I give the word to the first site representative for Nyköping Skavsta, Tobias Osmark. The floor is yours.
Welcome to Nyköping and Skavsta. Skavsta is located just outside Nyköping, which is about an hour south of Stockholm. The area today is best known for the international airport, but it's about to undergo a transformation. We are developing an entire business area for more than 10,000 jobs, and a new train station with a travel center. The travel center will connect the airport, train and bus, which will strengthen Skavsta as an important regional node, with interconnections in a greater metropolitan area.
For Explore Skavsta as a real estate developer, together with the municipality and the region, this is a chance to be innovative for real, to embrace the future way of making business within the planetary boundaries, and to form a working environment with care and qualities that in itself will become an attraction for a diversity of people and interests.
We have already set the basic outline for the area, especially the infrastructure in a planning program. The station for the East Link will be an important element for the area. The square outside on the south side therefore becomes a central place. The track and the station are built by the Swedish Transportation Administration and are fixed requirements in terms of height and location. We have also generated vision boards to set the direction for the kind of environment we are looking for.
Now it's time to conduct an architectural and urban study in order to design the core elements of this future society and to develop a well-founded architectural vision of the environment that we want to create.
The project area today consists of a parking lot and a relatively flat forest land. A height of rock outcrops just east of the future Skavsta Boulevard is preserved and provides a view of the area. The diamond structure of the main roads is given, but the location of the roads is not completely fixed and must therefore be adapted to, for example, travel centers and roundabouts.
The focus of the competition task is to transform the vision of innovative Skavsta into architectural solutions. Our questions concern the concepts of both the transit and the business areas. On site, we are especially looking for solutions on a detailed level for the central future public spaces, such as the Skavsta Square and the Skavsta Boulevard with surrounding blocks.
In Skavsta, we're trying to forecast a development for the next 20 years. For this purpose, your contribution is of great value for us. Welcome to Nyköping and to Skavsta.
Welcome to
My name is Tobias Osmark. I'm an architect and a strategist at Nyköpings kommun. After this overview, I think there remain two basic questions. And the first one is very general. Why compete in architecture? Well, for sure, competition is very deeply rooted in the subject of architecture. But for us, this question really matters. We don't have such a thing as an ultimate best solution ready at hand. We need your different professional angles, and in this case, your whole capacity as architects and city planners. Competition is not just about to fulfill the limited program. It is a chance to capture and reveal the whole complexity of architecture. Europan has its own tradition for competitions in this sense, which we are proud to be part of. The other question is, why choose Nyköping Skavsta? The short answer is simple, because we are good clients. We have done our homework and are very well prepared for this, which is a good reason to work on this site. And as architects, you should choose your clients with care. We have done our homework. We have worked with the East Link project for a very long time, and in next year, the construction work begins. It really makes Skavsta to the natural south gate to Stockholm, as we saw in the movie, by train, by road, by air, and nearby sea. 3 million people lives within 100 kilometers from Skavsta. The plans for the Skavsta site also have a long prehistory, resulting in the planning program last year. It concerns foremost the heavy infrastructure and other basic conditions. In order to communicate the intention of the environment, we have done several vision boards for our website. These are no design proposals, but rather a tool for communicating with future developers and companies. The girl sitting in the train might be on her way to her working place in Skavsta. The design process for the future platform building has started on a conceptual level, as you can see. The shown proposal is not decided yet. Our partners are of great importance. We have a highly skillful real estate developer, Explore Skavsta, which is part of the Arlandastad group, which with experience of developing the properties around the biggest international airport of Sweden. Our visions are very united with innovation. We really want to challenge the familiar concepts of business districts. To the strong team, we also have the Region Sörmland with an office for regional planning and our partner for public transport. As if this is not enough, I want to touch upon a deeper reason for working with this site, as I believe it has to do with the macro trend of industrial transition. To reflect upon this theme, I want to go back to the late 1980s together with the Swedish historian Sverker Sörlin. He wrote about the period around 1900 and the role of the natural resources in creating the modern Sweden as a wealthy welfare nation in his dissertation called Framtidslandet. He remembers that his theme seemed to be a long past history. Back then, it was common to imagine the future as post-industrial knowledge society. In retrospective, he says, this was a pure fantasy. The national resources were not overplayed or unnecessary. Not in any period of the history have we used more resources, destroyed the environment so badly, or increased the temperature of the atmosphere so much as from the 1980s and onwards. Our future is, by contrast, quite the opposite. In the industrial green transition, it's all about the natural resources again, but in new ways. Indeed, we have the battery industry, plans for a new steel industry, and so on, but the transition is not done yet. A few segments do not fix this, as Sörlin concludes. The green transition is an opportunity, but it cannot be handed over to the investors. We have all we need to be involved, all of us. In Skavsta, we have the right strategic conditions for this macro trend. Now we need to strengthen the profile of the physical environment as the place where the development can be realized in a desirable manner. For us, it's all about the structure within the yellow marked area. In short, we are looking for the everyday life or architecture of green transition. Key factors are about attracting a diversity of human resources to living places where the green transition can take place, with care for the traveling environment and the everyday life, in the everyday life, with care for the physical organization of the working place, with care for the recreation and integration in the landscape. With the same intensity, we try to make housing areas lively, as we can see in the playful illustrations of everyday life by David Sim in his book, Soft City. This is an opportunity to work with these universal aspects on our local site. We as actors need your attention for the special potential Skavsta has to offer, connected to the local, regional and international contexts. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, Nyköping, Skavsta. And now it's time for Piteå. We go with alphabetic order. So please, Piteå, on the stage.
My name is Mattias Lidén. I'm a landscape architect at the Swedish Transport Administration.
And my name is Dennis Jonsson, and I represent Piteå municipality.
And we are organizing this competition together.
Piteå is a coastal town in northern Sweden, 800 kilometers north of Stockholm and 100 kilometers south of the polar circle. This is where it happens. Northern Sweden, including the Norrbotten region, is experiencing an outright boom in recent years. as it has been given a leading position in Europe when it comes to the transition to green and fossil-free technology. This has positive effects for the region in the form of economic and population growth, which in turn requires an expansion of housing and infrastructure. The planned construction of the North Bothnia Line, a 270 kilometers coastal railway between Umeå and Luleå, is an important investment to connect the coastal cities along the Gulf of Bothnia. This project offers great opportunities for urban planning. For this reason, Piteå municipality and the Swedish Transport Administration are participating together in this competition.
We are now at Rådhustorget, which is Piteå's main square. Here, the feeling of the old wooden town of Piteå is well preserved.
The square, together with Storgatan, is the town's living room and most important shopping street. At present, areas west and south of Piteå city centre are characterized by industry and open spaces that lack urban qualities. Directly adjacent to the urban area lies a railway yard, which is only used for freight traffic. Today, the city centre and a popular park next to the water at the South Bay are cut off by a large barrier, consisting of a railway track and a heavily trafficked road. The suggested corridor for the future railway track passes in this area between the centre and the water.
The main goal is to increase high-quality urban spaces and provide meeting places for all ages. Sustainable choices in everyday life should be facilitated by adding connections between areas and functions that today are separated.
The main question to the competitors are: how can the barriers between Piteå city centre and the recreational area by the water be bridged, while adding a new railway and expanding the city? Where should a transportation hub most strategically be placed to function as a hub for the new area and the existing city? The Swedish Transport Administration is participating in the development of society by creating well-designed environments that are functional, sustainable and beautiful.
My name is Per Sleron and I'm working with the planning of the North Bothnia Line between the cities Umeå and Luleå in northern Sweden. Here in Piteå, the railway will pass through the city centre, and we want it to be an integrated part and contribute to the development of Piteå in a positive way. It will make it possible for people to choose to travel by train and half the travel time between the bigger cities. And it will make it easier for the industries to choose sustainable transports and link northern Sweden with the rest of Europe.
We invite you to be part of development of one of Europe's most growing regions. Piteå is a coastal town in northern Sweden.
So the North Bothnia Line, as you can see in this map, it's stretching from Umeå to Luleå when it will be finished. We are now working on the part Umeå-Skellefteå and will continue up north. 270 kilometers. It's connecting to the Botniabanan, which is was opened in 2012. And it will be an important part in the green transition, the industrial transition in the north of Sweden. At Trafikverket, we are working connected to the national policy for the the design environment. And the ambition with that policy is that the contribution of architecture, form and design to the built environment will be fully used for the benefit and joy of all. The perspective also includes, among other things, art, historical context, and social values. And we at the Swedish Transport Administration have an overall architecture goal, and it describes our ambition. The Swedish Transport Administration shall participate in the development of the society by creating well-designed environments that are functional, sustainable, and beautiful. We are also aiming to organize more competitions, as this one in which we are one part, in order to achieve our architecture goal.
Piteå is a coastal town in the northern of Sweden. Piteå has traditionally been an industrial city characterized by the wood industry. Because of the green industrial transitions that happens now in the northern of Sweden, we will see a strong and rapid growth which requires new housings and new infrastructure. The competition area is a part of central Piteå, but has large undeveloped areas. Extensive areas with high proportion of wasteland and an existing railway yard characterize the area. But the competition area is also a beautiful place with a park in the south porch, which is a popular green area for the that offers a nice view of the water. So I will say it's a place with great potential. Because of its location in the waterfront and its orientation towards the south, the area has a high potential for being an attractive living environment. Piteå municipality wants to develop the city center. This will become a beautiful place where housing and commerce and business are mixed. It's important to provide green spaces within the existing city as well as in the new quarters. The main goal is to increase high quality urban spaces and provide meeting places for all ages. The project site has a great potential, located, as you can see, close to the sea and the historical center, with the small-scale wooden houses along Storgatan and the square Rådhustorget, as well as some new high-rise buildings. The new railway station for the North Bothnia Line will create an injection for the urban development of the area. The potential offered by the closeness to the sea is today not fully expressed due to the barrier created by the main road Timmerleden, the timber trail, and the existing freight railway. A challenge is to create a proposal which will reduce the barrier effects while introducing a new barrier, the North Bothnia Line. The new transportation hub will include the moved existing bus station and, of course, the new railway station. The location chosen and the proposed layout should enable contact with the existing city center, the proposed urban expansion, and a connection to the recreational area, the harbor close to the sea. Thank you.
And now we would like Rimbo to come up on the stage. Welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Emil Jakobsson and I work as an urban planner for the Norrtälje municipality.
And my name is Olle Husko, and is represent a company named Tranvik, and it's a partner in this competition and a stakeholder in the part of the site.
We are now standing in a 1938 brick building that served as a dairy. We are now looking to transform this property into a travel center for buses and trains, as well as developing a new urban neighborhood with a lot of green spaces.
Rimbo has a perfect location and sits in between Sweden's capital, Stockholm, and its main airport, Arlanda. It also lies close to the fourth largest city, Uppsala, and is part of Norrtälje municipality and the Stockholm business region. Rimbo was built as a garden city with its own access to the railway. The railway tracks were removed in the 1980s, but there are now plans to once again incorporate Rimbo into the local railway system. How can Rimbo find its own identity in a more integrated region? The town center lies in the northern area of the site. It needs more visitors and residents to sustain local businesses. The large bus station will be transformed into a mixed-use residential area for both those living in Rimbo and those living around Rimbo in the countryside.
The town center should be integrated with a travel center that is located in the central part of the site. The travel center needs to feel open and safe, both for residents and commuters from outside the town. The travel center needs places for buses, trains, as well as parking spaces for cars and bikes.
The southern part of the site should focus on medium-scale building with houses, services, and commercial. It needs to accommodate the railway tracks coming from Stockholm without creating any barriers in the town. A few hundred meters to the south lies a new urban neighborhood. This creates an opportunity for this area to have more service and commercial than otherwise possible.
The vision for the entire site is to create a mixed-use urban neighborhood with greenery and a focus on sustainability. Here, pedestrians should be prioritized with street-level activity and vibrant meeting places. Buildings should be built using sustainable materials and methods. Sport, culture and outdoor life is a large part of Rimbo's identity. Any proposal should try to integrate these values.
We are looking for someone with the ability to find a new identity where history and tradition come into play and to create a new human-scale town and travel center. Rimbo needs your ideas to realize this vision and to lead the way into the future of small-town life.
Okay, Rimbo is a town in the Norrtälje municipality in the Stockholm region. It has a strategic location about 55 kilometers from Stockholm city, 50 kilometers from Uppsala, and a half-an-hour ride from Arlanda International Airport, one of Sweden's largest workplaces. This has contributed to Rimbo being an attractive commuter town. It is located inland and has a strong identity connected to its history, the agricultural land, and its industrial past. The construction of a transportation hub for buses and trains that connects to the future extension of Roslagsbanan railway from Stockholm will free up a lot of space in the town center. This will create a unique possibility to plan a new, lively town center that reflects Rimbo's history and character. Placed at the meeting point between the water and the road, Rimbo early became a marketplace. As the railway was built in the late 19th century and Roslagsbanan railway was completed, Rimbo became an important railway junction. This boosted its industrial, commercial, and residential development. Most of its center was developed under the influence of the Garden City principles during the early 20th century. Rimbo has been developed in different historical phases, which can be easily read in the city fabric. A large percentage of buildings in Rimbo consists of one-family houses, mostly in wood or brick. During the 1980s, the last railway line to Stockholm was closed. Most of the commuting today is done by car due to a lack of good public transportation possibilities. This influences the town center, which has become unattractive in terms of service. The extension of Roslagsbanan railway will be a key point for Rimbo's town center. It will connect it to Stockholm and reinforce its position as a node for the surrounding rural areas. Since the 1980s, there is a strong social movement in Rimbo, also known as the Rimbo Spirit, where a committed business association works for the development of Rimbo as a community.
The project site contains the central part of the areas of the center to the town. Center town from the south with a road 280. Köpmangatan is a pedestrian street in the northern part of the site. And 3-story apartment buildings with restaurants and cafes on the ground floor. The northeast side of the site is an oversized paved area containing bus and terminal and parking for commuters. This huge empty space is closed to the north by the large brick building, Centrumhuset, which contains a public swimming pool and a library. This huge empty space, I see as most important part of the project site, what you see on the left there in the yellow. There is a great potential to develop this area with residential, commercial and office buildings, as well as to create a quality public spaces with a new transportation hub. The Galten building up in the right side stands just south of the bus terminal. The building plot, Galten, and its building are proposed to be used as a part of the transportation hub and future final stop for the Roslagsbanan railway. Galten has the potential to also contain the shopping and apartments as a kind of a landmark in the central of Rimbo. Today, the southern part of the project site, what you see down on the right side, is used for a light industry and commercial buildings. The buildings are mostly industrial buildings with sheet metal facades that lack of architectural values. This area has the potential to become an extension of the town center southward and form of the new entrance to Rimbo from the south, becoming the first impression of the town when they're traveling from the example from Stockholm. In the proposals, the competitors needs to show the extension of the railway to the town center, as well as the location of the new transportation hub. However, there is a room for the competitors to develop their ideas for Rimbo's new town center. The focus should be on the sustainable development and find a new identity for Rimbo as a place to live, work and visit, and reflecting the town's character. And here is the starting points that I just talked about. And a new vibrant town center that reflects the Rimbo's entirety. That's the main cause of this competition. Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately, Skellefteå, who is next, couldn't participate today, so I will present their site. Yes, so welcome to Skellefteå. We will also start with this video.
to turn population decline into rapid growth. As we continue to grow, we will welcome thousands of people here in the coming years, both from other parts of Sweden and from the rest of the world. We are surrounded by enormous forests, which has laid the foundation for one of our top competences, building in wood. We also have access to local, large-scale renewable energy that enables an electrified society. It is one of the reasons why Europe's largest battery factory is emerging here, creating lots of jobs and generating positive ripple effects on society. So the jobs are here, but we also invest a lot in leisure activities and cultural offerings for children and adults, and new restaurants are being established all the time. We need to create attractive living environments so that people choose to move here and stay, and we need to act fast. One of the areas we have in mind for development is an old industrial site. We believe this area has the potential to be transformed into a vibrant neighborhood where people, businesses, and nature may coexist. And we would love your help.
This is the Scharins area. It was named after the family Scharins that started this industry here, a wood industry or a pulp production industry. And it has been an industry that was in work for at least 100 years.
It has a scenic location next to the river, and it has beautiful nature just around the corner. It's also close to the new industrial site as well as the city center.
We foresee that this area has the potential to build at least 1,000 or maybe up to 3,000 new homes. And we also think it's possible to make areas for recreation and parks and such.
But the location is associated with one major challenge: earlier pollutions from the factory that was located here. Despite extensive cleaning efforts, one section of the land does not meet Sweden's strict requirements for safe housing. We foresee that in the future there will be between 1,000 and 3,000 new homes here, but also areas for recreation and leisure activities.
We hope that you're up to the challenge, and we look forward to receiving your proposal.
Together we can bring new life to this old industrial area and make it a vibrant community for a fast-growing part of Europe.
Yes. So as we just saw in this film, Skellefteå is in the middle of the green industrial transformation taking place in northern Sweden as Piteå. And 10 billion euro is expected to be invested in the coming 10 years in these things like hydrogen development, fossil-free steel and batteries. And this is expected to create 100,000 new jobs in 10 to 15 years. And this is quite daunting for a region that is one of the least populated in Sweden, and where forests cover 2/3 of the surface. And now expecting to grow with 25,000 people until 2040. And the development is driven by global trends such as climate change and electrification of society, all made possible due to the unique conditions that exist in Skellefteå. Skellefteå have already a long history of producing renewable energy, wind and hydropower, sustainable metals, recycling in electronics, as well as sustainable wood construction. And Skellefteå have had a wood building strategy for over 10 years. And the establishment of Europe's largest battery factory is in Skellefteå. Is expected to generate 10 to 15,000 new jobs. And to fill all these jobs positions, people need to move here from all over the world, since unemployment is already low in Skellefteå. And Skellefteå wants to create attractive living environments. They can offer unique natural environments. Skellefteå has already a lot of forest, a long coastline, many islands, rivers, streams, and lakes. And Skellefteå, they are very proud that they already have these culture and leisure activities. One example of these investments is made in Sara Culture Center, and which is one of the world's tallest buildings constructed entirely in wood. And they also plan to establish a new design center here in Skellefteå, which will be a national node for architecture, design, form, and handicraft. And Skellefteå is very proud about that the Times magazine named Skellefteå as one of the 50th greatest places in the world in 2022. And to move to Skellefteå, you also need a place to stay, and the demand of housing, as you heard in the video, is enormous, and thousands of new homes must be built every year. And all this must be done in a sustainable way, of course. And this is why Skellefteå wanted to join in Europan. And the question is, now we are turning to this Sharin's area with the overall question: how can new life be given to this abandoned industrial land, transforming it to an exclusive living environment surrounded by nature and water? And the location is stunning, as you can see. It is also close to the new industrial site where many jobs will be created. And before, at the site, there was a pulp factory located here for 160 years. It was one of the largest companies in northern Sweden with trade all over the world. The factory closed in 1980s, and after that the soil was decontaminated for 18 years, extracting 7,000 tons soils. And despite this, a part of the land still contains some level of toxins, half matter below the surface. There is no leakage today, but there is no risk for humans or animals. However, digging deep into the ground is not safe. As a result, the land does not meet the Sweden's strict requirement for safe housing. And this is the main challenge to be overcome in the competition. And the area has been abandoned for a number of years. Temporary housing has been set up for people working at the new industrial site, but will be removed. And Skellefteå expect between 1,000 to 3,000 homes to be built here, but also areas for recreation and activities and improving access to the shoreline for the public. And here you see some images from the site in winter. It's a lot of winter in Skellefteå. Some of the questions that Skellefteå would like answered is: what innovative solutions exist to build a safe residence despite the partly contaminated ground? What can we learn from other locations with similar challenges? This is, as I said before, the main challenge. And how can we build on the exclusive location next to the river and the creation of recreational opportunities, such as canoeing, swimming, soccer, or golf? And how can accessibility to the water increase for the public? Thank you. And Skellefteå look forward to receiving inspiring ideas and working together with young talents. Thank you for your attention. And now I give this word to the last site, and it's Växjö. Welcome to the stage.
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Sebastian Gårdendal, and I work as an urban planner in the municipality of Växjö. Ska man klicka? So, in the heart of Småland lies Växjö, surrounded by the region's characteristic forests, small lakes, and stony fields. It carries a strong entrepreneurial tradition. It is the commercial and cultural center of the region, and it also accommodates the region's central hospital, the site for Växjö's entry for Europan 17. Växjö is an old town with a rich history. At the beginning of the 11th century, a couple of farms were located in the place that later would become Växjö, the town with a marketplace where two roads met by the lake. Vägsjö. The name Växjö means road and lake. Sorry. The city's layout is of the classic 17th century grid style, and the city consists of opposites that meet and unite. In the year of 2018, Växjö got awarded for being that year's architecture municipality in Sweden. Växjö is perceived as safe, and give its residents the possibility to meet and thrive. Environments for a living urban life provided possibilities for people to meet, which can strengthen development of society and democracy. Växjö is an attractive place for innovative businesses and associations that contribute to high and sustainable growth. The municipality has a thoroughly developed sustainability policy and a wooden building strategy, which recommends that new buildings are built with wood. Växjö is also a member of Viable Cities, which works for climate neutral cities. So, Växjö municipality wants to take many of the existing values and qualities in consideration when doing the proposal for the Europan competition. Imagine a second life while taking care of the existing. Material values and resources, the cultural values, the symbolic value, the natural values, and the building tradition. The competition task is to reconnect the hospital area to the city structure and reusing the buildings or the materials when the hospital moves. The vision and expectations for the project site is that many nodes and public functions will be developed, which will contribute to a living city. A mixed-use land use plan has been proposed for the site. It may contain some housing, however, the ground floor should be entirely public. The site's unique location demands public functions and content that are valuable for Växjö as the region's capital. Strandbjörkstaden, as the area is called, consists of hospital buildings from the 20th century. The block is centrally located next to Växjö's historical and commercial center. The communication center is in the north, and Växjösjön and its promenade in the east, the park Strandbjörken in the south, and the garden city Söder in the west. In the future, the hospital will be moved to a new building in a new location outside of the city. The buildings that remain will no longer be used by the hospital. With a very central location, the buildings have the possibility to develop Växjö in the right direction for the future. The competition task is to investigate how the structure within the hospital block can be developed to create better connections with the rest of the city. How the existing buildings or the materials can be transformed or reused, and to suggest a new programmatic content for the site. The questions to be answered are: how can the center of Växjö, with its history, culture and commerce, be further developed within the competition site, with regard to living environments and sustainability in all dimensions? What does the city center of Växjö need to continue to be a lively and attractive place for its residents in the city and the region, and to attract many visitors? Businesses, streets and squares, what additions does Växjö city center need? And construction technology, what needs to be added and what needs to be preserved? Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you all the municipalities for this very interesting site presentations. And now we move forward to the inspirational, very short 5 minutes lectures. And we start with Fredrik Drotte. Welcome.
Thank you. First, I would just like to express how great it is that we stand here today with yet another Europan competition, despite the quite dark and rough times that we have. So I think as much as 5 Swedish sites, it's rather fantastic. Shouldn't we give that round of applause? It makes me wish I was 40 again. Who can resist engaging in what we've heard? So my own story with the Europan community spans from 2007, different roles, then as a site representative for Upplands Väsby municipality, and then jury member and board member, and now jury member again. And from different viewpoints professionally as well, from architectural consultant to municipal architect and planner, and urban planning consultant, and now from a property development and investment company's point of view. So it's really interesting to think about what Europan is from these different perspectives, and why Europan is important, and why it is important to participate in. So why is Europan such a good idea? Well, I have some points. I have 3 that I would like to point out. Firstly, Sweden, or the world, needs the innovations. Climate change, segregation, society's ongoing changes, and an ever more complex planning process need all the help we can get. So from the innovative capital that we have access to, it's crucial to create means and voices for ideas from younger architects and related professionals. And we do not only need professionals for the physical environment, we also need ideas for smarter processes. The more advanced the tasks, the more the parameters, the more the stakeholders and experts, the more innovative the processes need to be. Europan is such a voice of innovation. Well-established, well-known, and highly acclaimed. And I'm glad to note that in recent years of the competition, we can see many examples of proposing process innovation, strategies for dealing with compound matters. Secondly, from a municipality, authority, met today, developer or participant's perspective, the value of relevant networks for comparison and discussion is vital. Europan is such a network, and a powerful one. An ever-growing number of participating site and municipalities are now a part of the Europan community, forming an extremely valuable asset of information between sites of equal size, challenges, or interests. Europan is therefore just as much a networking asset as one of innovation, idea sourcing, and knowledge exchange. And thirdly, the architect's role as a creative leader. I believe, and I hope many of you agree, that the design of space and form does have a tremendous impact on people's lives and well-being as well as climate. The creation and design of space and form is ultimately the architect's responsibility. It is therefore paramount that the architect not only acts as one of several partakers, but is ready to take lead in such a process. This skill needs arenas of practice and thought exchange and forums for discussions on the demands on such a leading role. Europan provides both the arena and the forum. Europan sites are nowadays often very large projects, like you've seen, on close to master plan level. Difficult questions such as mobility, energy, technical and ecological infrastructure, and so on need to be dealt with, which demands, like Frida said in the beginning, multi or interdisciplinary teams. Personally, I think this is a good development. Solving the urgent matters humanity is facing is not a one person or one profession task. It needs inclusion of many experts, many stakeholders, and a skilled facilitating creative leadership. So, on behalf of the board and the Swedish jury, I urge all you young architects that listen or are here today to take the chance and take part and contribute to all this. It's a fantastic process. And to those of you new to Europan, I warmly welcome you and wish all the contestants and all of us best of luck in the continued process of Europan 17. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fredrik Drotte. And now we welcome Studio Träda, runner-up in Europan 16 Västerås.
Hello.
So,
yes, my name is Marcus.
and I'm Clara.
And I'm Matilda.
And also Mats, you can see in a picture, who couldn't be here tonight. And we are an architecture collective, we call ourselves. And the name comes from the Swedish word for follow, or also to step into or step out of. That we want to be a continuing discussion about architecture that we can have, about topics that we maybe are not able to talk about at or express at the working places.
Yeah, and we participated in Europan 16, so it was the last time in 2021. And then the theme was Living Cities, the same as it is this year. And the site that we participated on was Västerås.
We asked for temporary architecture, so kind of differently from some of the sites here. And this was our proposal, Landscapes of Encounters, an invitation to a multi-species city. And this was our definition of a living city.
Yeah, how do we invite others, other species and other actors to become a part of a coexisting and co-shaping of a society, a future society? So when we was at the site, we tried to see it as find the qualities on the site that was already existing and see it as a landscape, and in that way open up a way of thinking about how could we reintroduce or talk about habitation on or habitats on the site in this such an urban environment.
And we had a toolbox that helped us. That what we aimed for was to use the vegetation and habitats was already there and try to enhance them. And also work with events and build elements and reuse strategies. And this was a process. And this was one of the sites, the bushwood that we called it.
And our method was that we worked with these large sections instead of drawings. And we tried to capture a new perspective, dream of what could this place become.
And this is a very good thing with Europan, because if you read what they ask for, it's 3 posters and a text. And you're able to choose whatever kind of drawings that you like and tell the story of your site. And we would very much like, that's an opportunity that we can talk about architecture and time and these topics in other ways as well.
Yeah, if we're about to change how we think and how we construct a society, we also need to think in new ways, and we also need to talk and need new ways to show or talk about architecture as well.
And dream about what the urban fabric can host, what kind of landscape can we have, and is it just for us humans, and how could we invite others, non-humans as well, to be part of it and build relation? Because I think that our view of it is that if we should start to care and be able to think about how to live sustainable, we also need to be surrounded by other species, other process that's not humans that decides, and that aims for another perspective. And maybe stop here. And also say this about the Västerås site, that we very much appreciate it, that this is like a window in time. They have a plan for what's going to happen, and that's what's going to be built in 20, 30 years. But this is a window in time which we can try smaller process in temporary architecture, that we can do this trial and error, then you're allowed to do mistakes as long as you keep going and try again in different ways. And very short now at the end, we are working now together with a winning team at the site with doing some temporary installation and activating this place. So we were in Västerås at a workshop in March, a month ago. And also having contact with this reuse center that next to the site that we didn't know about, that had opened this spring. Amazing. And here are all of us. And we are going to be in Västerås and build this in May. So if you're around, we're going to be there. And we're also going to be in Malmö at this festival in May as well. So if you're around, come by. And use this. Also think that this is a theme of the competition, and also have a philosophic perspective and ideas. So read up on that and claim your view of what living city is. That's also part of the task. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Studio Träda. Very inspiring. And now it's time for Matilda Schuman and Martin Berg, winner in Europan Norway, Europan 14 in Narvik, Norway. So it's not in Sweden, it's our competitor.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Martin Berg. This is Matilda Schuman. But before we start, is it rolling?
No, I think it's rolling.
Okay. So we have a project in Narvik, and we won 6 years ago, and it's called On Reflection. It's a bit similar to Växjö, I would say. So Narvik has a port for shipping iron ore, and it also has a university, even though it's a small city. And this is our site, the technical quarter. And it's centrally located, and it's right next to the main square, and also close to a centrally located park. So it's a really nice site. And these are the existing buildings on the site, and some of them were going to be left emptied, and those were the ones that we focused on in the competition. And we converted them into new use. And we also proposed 2 new additions, and they helped creating a more defined urban spaces. And they created a formal square in the front and an informal in the back. And you can say that we're continuing a tradition of squares facing the main street.
And we really like the old tower in the middle of the block that inspired the design of our 2 new additions. And we see the whole block as an ensemble of all the new buildings that are creating a new whole block. And we worked also a lot with the scale of the new buildings, and also like to reuse different architectural elements that we found in the existing buildings on the site. And with our addition seen to the right, we create this defined urban square. And we think it has the potential to become the entrance to the whole block. And this is the ground floor plan with new use. In our new addition, we placed or proposed a restaurant and entrance lobby. And in the old workshop garages, we proposed a science museum. And in the old fire station, co-working facilities. So with small means, we transformed the old garage for the fire trucks into a new creative hub that faces the square. And in the floors above, we proposed housing for the young. That was in the brief from Narvik as well. We had 3 different types of living conditions: collective housing, studio apartments, and duplex apartments facing the park. The studio apartments, here's, you see them a little bit better. And we also wanted to have this mix of typologies to be able to offer different qualities to attract people with diverse preferences. Like these duplex apartments with this kind of art studio feeling. And above the apartments, we proposed a flexible hall. We wanted this top floor with its panoramic views all over Narvik to be a public place and to give something back to the people in Narvik. We think it's a memorable place, and it was thought as a showroom for innovative ideas.
And after we won, we started working with the municipal real estate company. We visited Narvik, and this is some photos from our site visit. And we had workshops together with the client, developing the project. And here are some a few examples of what we did after winning. So we evaluated the existing buildings, and we also were programming the different spaces more in depth, looking at different opportunities. We were also looking at substituting or repairing parts of the existing buildings, and especially one facade was really in need for a change. So we looked closely on that. And this was a view from the informal square in the back that we developed after the competition. But you can find more information on our website. And the current status of the project is that it's paused. And because the fire department that is there today, they have been delayed for moving out. And we can't start before they are out of the building. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Matilda and Martin. Very inspiring. And now the last lecture for Europan today. It's by a Danish architect. We always call them the Danish teams who always win on Swedish sites. You have got first prize in Karlskrona, Europan 14, and then first prize, Europan 15, Visby. So tell everyone about your tricks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the welcome and the opportunity for being together with you this evening. My name is Magnus H. Nielsen. I'm a Danish architect and founder of Gründl Haar Architect, together with my colleague Stefan Gründl. And I would like to read you a poem where it says, "Suddenly, a picture opened out which made him shiver with delight. Base an island, stretching far out into infinity." These are the words of the great Swedish writer and poet Johannes Strindberg, and the beauty of the expression is even greater in Swedish, of course. For me, these words really emphasize and express how we as human beings interact with the landscape we are all a part of. It explained how we react to the shift of the landscape, to the movement of the landscape, but in a way it also reflects how this feeling is deeply rooted within us all and how it is layered within our culture. And as well as we are moved by the landscape is currently everywhere. Our building is in the landscape, our city is part of the landscape, and we move ourselves through the landscape. All this knowledge, all this feeling, this understanding are very important pieces of our work with architecture. Our first project was, our first joint project, Stefan and I, was this competition in Karlskrona in European 14, and we called it the project A Blue Entrance to the City in the Sea. Karlskrona is located in the southern Sweden, as you know, in this very beautiful area. and the city was founded. It was founded as a planned city, a Baroque city. It was founded to make a base, a marine base, to make sure that the Swedes have the power in the Baltic Sea. And you see here, this is the brief from the competition. You see the central Karlskrona on Trossö in the middle of the picture. You see the Navy base, and then you see the side on the northern part. Here you can see the side a bit closer with the central island in the middle. And historically, this area was open water. It was a bay. And Karlskrona was this unique city laying in the middle of this inner water. It was a city surrounded and defended by the water. But this area was landfilled after the turn of the century, and now the feeling of the city is more like it has become a peninsula. So our main task was to look back into history, to understand the city, and to make a proposal that emphasized the identity and historical quality of the city as a UNESCO city. So we looked back in the archives and found that this area was once an open water. So we worked our way through the project, through the many themes, through the landscape, through the infrastructure, through the building structure, working our way through and develop the project. We looked on the old map, and as I has explained, this area was once an open water, but there was these 3 holme, these 3 islands, and we took that idea and reinterpreted it into these new 3 islands, as you see on the right side, and making the master plan look this way. So this master plan for the area is 200,000 square meters of building structure, but mainly is a landscape project. It's a landscape project giving the city back to the sea, making the entrance a journey through, across islands, across bridges, step by step into the sea, into the Karlskrona main island, Trossö. And the aerial photo of the site is this one, where you see the new residential area with a mix of functions, with housing, with public function, with parks, and also with a large road going through the area. After the competition, we have developed a very nice relationship with the municipality and their employees there. Right after the competition, we have a smaller task with detailing the area, and then we got a task working with the area on Trossö, where the station is located, area called Kungsplan. And as part of that, we have worked with the infrastructure. As you see here, there is this large infrastructure going through the area called the Österlen, and that is the main entrance to the city. So it's a really important entrance. But due to some technical issues, it has to be redesigned partly, and they want a design, a vision, a strategy for how to make this redesign. They want the vision emphasizing the city's history. So once again, we dig down to the archive, looking at old maps and old paintings, where you see an historical photo of the entrance to the city, where you cross small, narrow wooden bridges, small islands, step by step, entering this historical city. And that motif took we and reinterpreted into this sections of the entrance, going from the outer part of the area, crossing the forest part, crossing a new bridge where the view will open up to the horizon, to the sea, and you will get this feeling of crossing into a kingdom of islands. And then you have the second photo is a photo of the pedestrian and bicycle entrance to the area, and you also have the road with a new bridge. And this unfold in a new entrance where we have this, of course, we have the road and the cars entrance to the city, but we also have a renewed focus on the pedestrians and the bicycles and the access to the water with a new promenade. When you see the photo from above, you can see here the updated visualization of the area. And currently we are working together with the municipality to make reguleringsplan, detail plan for the area. So that was Karlskrona. Just briefly, we also won the competition in Visby, a very inspiring site. We have not had so much work on it afterwards, but we hope to restart that. So these two projects have been the starting point for us to establish our firm. And in 2020, we established our firm and got a grant from the Danish Art Association, and have the two and a half past year won a couple of competition we are currently working on in Denmark and in Sweden. So thank you for your attention.
Då ska vi säga tack till Europan, till alla som har, or I forget the language. We should say thank you to all the sites, the municipalities, and all the former winners who have presented and inspired us for the future competition. One last thing before we end tonight. There is another site or another thing that's happening in September, and I would like to introduce and welcome Johanna God and Pia Jonsson, who will talk about a World Congress that will take place in Stockholm and Nairobi, Sweden and Kenya. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. We will only take a very few minutes of your time. And I think also it's so inspiring to hear all the Europan competitions, and I think we really need to be brave and try new things to beat the challenges that we face. And I think with this initiative we have also tried to be a bit brave and try a new way to work. I am Pia Jonsson. Now I'm here representing Architect Sweden, or Sveriges Arkitekter. And you?
I'm Johanna Good, and I'm also working at Architect Sweden, but we are also both landscape architects. Yeah, we just want to tell you briefly about this very unique event taking place in September in two places simultaneously, which is Stockholm and Nairobi. And
yeah, and it's called the IFLA World Congress. I don't know how many of you who know about IFLA. A few. And I know some of you are also, we have many people working on this voluntarily, so it's a very big thing that we in Sweden do this year. But IFLA stands for International Federation of Landscape Architects. It's the biggest global organization for landscape architecture. And it's 78 member countries currently all over the world. And every year they run this World Congress and Council, which is also the biggest event that happens for landscape architecture. Yeah, this year we really wanted to try something else. We also want to challenge. We have 7 years to change the way we live, basically. So we thought to collaborate with a country more south, Kenya, an Architecture Association of Kenya, which has many similarities to us. Yes, why? We have seen also today it's a lot of working with the green city and public spaces, and that's also a key thing to face the challenges we see today. This is just a quotation from James Hayter, who was the chairperson of IFLA. About how important landscape architecture is, and I think even if we are making houses or urban planning, we all touch upon landscape architecture somehow. So we are not talking just to the landscape architects, but all architects.
And everyone working with sustainable urban environments, I think.
Yes. So why? We also touched upon this today. We have a climate change coming, or it's already here. It's very urgent, and we see problems of this all over the world, in Sweden, in Kenya, and everywhere. And why do we do this? We want to, we used to say we're not making it easy for ourselves, but this is not an easy, this is a problem that has no easy solution. And we want to also broaden the view of landscape architecture by this, through this collaboration. And how? We've been working with this since 2018, and we have started to kind of identify similarities and similarities and the differences between us. And we have a lot of similarities. I think this is a picture from Swedish National Park. We have the Kenyan National Park. We have a lot of we have a lot of similar challenges, even though we are on two different geographical zones. We've been working with this for long. There have been many people volunteering from Architect Sweden, and also, some of you are here today also.
Yes, and we have an overall theme, which is emergent interaction, which I think goes along with a lot of the themes that have been brought up here today, which is about working together, collective problem solving in different ways, and also at the same time in these multidisciplinary teams targeting our global issues, which I think we all, of course, know. With the climate crisis and the rapid urbanization and biodiversity loss, we really need to come together and work together in new forms. And with this overall theme, we also have 3 sub-themes. Leave No One Behind, which is about inclusiveness and democracy in public space and who has the right to be part of it. And also that we have public spaces at all, because that's not entirely true in all countries in the world. Act local, think global, targeting the global issues, but thinking in site-specific contexts, like the sites presented here today, that we all have different challenges which require different solutions. And then beyond borders, going back to the whole interdisciplinary and multinational collaborations to work together. And so this Congress has some program items already going on. We have a student competition that's running right now. We also we're planning for a student workshop the days prior to the Congress. And then there's also the World Council for the Delegates of IFLA happening before. But then we also have partner events like pre-seminars, which will happen here during the spring and also in July or in June and August. So, which you can also watch from anywhere because they are streamed. And then the actual Congress is 2 days, 28th and 29th of September. The location here in Stockholm is Philadelphia Convention Center. And the program consists of a mix between keynote speakers. Some of them will be in Kenya and streamed to here, and some of them will be here, streamed to Kenya and to an online platform. And then we also have breakout sessions, which we are right now collecting material for, so you can contribute. And those are very important arena also for making this Congress, because that's where the platform of interaction happens. And then, of course, we also have some study visits and social events that are important part. And the last day, on the Saturday, is a day of study visits and post-Congress tours, which you can also come onto or join. So yeah, just some reasons why we think it's very important to be there. And it is lifting, like, just this international arena and coming together is just one of the biggest reasons. It's a very unique event, the whole Nairobi, Sweden, or Stockholm. And I think, we have a lot that we can do. And I think every day we struggle with these questions. And it's just by the same thing that you do here in like the Europan with the competition, that coming together and making solutions, that's what we want to bring to this Congress, the conversations and the dialogue about that. And that this is I think maybe once in a lifetime thing. Last time it happened in Sweden was 1952. So we don't know when it's going to be here again. Yeah, do you want to add anything to that? No, just a big warm welcome to join, and stay tuned, because you can visit our website and of course contact us. And we've made events on LinkedIn and Facebook which you can just attend or show your interest in, and then you can follow the different updates. And yeah, we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to say thank you to Carolina and Frida and all the team of Europan again. And please join the competition.